Hey now, and welcome down to KC Toy Reviews. We are here today with a spectacular new release by Hot Toys, and that is with Pennywise from the movie It by Stephen King. And man, this one is nothing short of amazing. So as always, let's go ahead and dive right in. And wow, this thing is amazing. I could be crazy, but I want to say that I waited maybe 2 years or over 2 years on pre-order for Pennywise to arrive. That's how excited and how long I have been waiting for this figure. Now, if you don't already know, this is Pennywise from the new 2017 version of It. There is obviously a old classic version with Tim Curry, an amazing version. I wasn't actually too disappointed with the new version. I really, really liked it. This is part one that we're talking about here. The reason I kind of pause and preface by saying that is, part two was awful. Couldn't believe how bad it was because part one was actually an enjoyable movie. I thought it brought it back to life. Bill Skarsgård did a fantastic job at bringing Pennywise to life. Did a really scary kind of new artistic take on it, and he really knocked it out of the park. If you're not familiar with Bill Skarsgård, he is the actor of Pennywise, and he's in a lot of stuff. He's a fantastic actor. Believe it or not, I think he's also in another Stephen King show, Castle Rock, on Hulu, so that's also worth checking out. Man, he did a fantastic job pulling off Pennywise, and after seeing the movie and being a fan of both the classic one and the new one, I had to have it on my shelf. And here it lies in front of us. As always, Hot Toys knocked it out of the park. As far as expectations go, if you get a Hot Toys, you know it's going to be amazing, but this was a little bit next level amazing. I think my wife at one point even said it looks like a statue, and I say that in every compliment possible. It just, with the base and the way it looked, truly did look like a statue, and I just want to say again, Hot Toys, you knocked it out of the park. So let's zoom in a little bit on the details of why here. Starting down here at the sewer base is the fantastic diorama stand that comes with Pennywise. A little bit unpopular opinion. I probably would have preferred something, I don't know, like an old wooden, like wood beams and stuff type of stand, like because of that house that he was always in. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense that he would be standing on top of himself, so I'm kind of anal about things like that, and I know it sounds stupid because the stand is phenomenal, so I'm not knocking the stand. It's just there's a part of me always that looks at it going, well, in this scene, it wouldn't even make sense that he would be standing there. In fact, what I did think a couple times is if anybody ever made a 1/6 Georgie, now that would look fantastic on top of this stand. It would just go so eerily that, especially if you put like the hand kind of down here in the water area, I mean, man, that would be amazing. But cool thing about the stand is that it serves as two purposes. The stand, obviously, for the hot toy, and it can house the head sculpt. So that is the second head sculpt, and I will take it out shortly, show it a little bit more in detail, but that's the second head sculpt that is down there. Interestingly enough, I've seen some people pull off some hilarious posts in the groups of putting like Ant-Man and other head sculpts down there, so you can do some kind of interesting photography and takes. Now, based off the way it works, you basically just take this piece, lift it off of there. I do have an unboxing video if you want to check that out. I kind of put everything together in there, and then underneath here, you can basically put whatever the head sculpt you want under there and have at it and just have a ton of fun. So pretty cool that they did that. And on top of it, it serves as a really cool storage for the second head sculpt that came with it. And on the way of accessories, too, we do have the skateboard here that came with it. Skateboard says, won't be there for him either. He didn't say it like that, but that is what the skateboard says. And pretty badass actually. You can do some little ollies and some tricks on this thing. It's pretty cool skateboard. And it is functioning wheels too, if you cared. And of course, most notably would be the balloon, the classic Pennywise balloon. So it's kind of like a hard, sturdy wire in there, so it just kind of stands up as is. I haven't tried to bend it, so I'm not really going to mess with it too much there. But you do have this beautiful balloon that looks very realistic. It has kind of a glisten and a glare depending on the light, so... Now, it is worth noting that he does come with one hand sculpt that has the little tiny hole there. So basically that just slides right in there. And there you have it. So there he goes. You just hold it like that. Pretty cool. And you can do some amazing photography, obviously holding the classic Pennywise balloon. And then we have a tray of hands. The only reason I would show it is that we have the two monster hands that match up with the second head sculpt, so you have those, and then the little boat that float down the river, a little Georgie signature on there, so that comes with it as well. And we have this Jack in the Box, not to be confused with the fast food chain. Nope, we have this super scary, again, nightmare-inducing Jack in the Box. I'm a Jack in the Box. And here lies the other head sculpt. I mean, man, the attention to detail, the little glisten on the teeth, the eyes. I just want to say again, they killed it with this head sculpt. I mean, both head sculpts, I prefer the other one. I'm always more like of a classic, simpler look type of guy. But man, the monster look head sculpt, the nightmare look is just phenomenal. Not sure if anybody cares or not, but it does look like the head is like two pieces. So you see kind of a big seam back here. So it looks like that's how it was put together. I mean, I don't give a crap, but people seem to care about things like that. But man, look at a little texture to the head there, to the face. Man, whew. I'm going to have nightmares. I already pissed my pants. And the last accessory would be this dead hand up here, ripped off hand, and again has some gruesome details to it on the back, some gruesome blood and glisten details. So kudos to the team over there with everything they've done. It's fantastic, almost to the point where I probably shouldn't show my kids some of the stuff on here. And as we're talking again, how creepy are the eyes coming from the sewer? I mean, man, I'm gonna have nightmares. I'm serious. I'm scared. I'm going to be scared the rest of the review here because it's really, really creepy. I feel like the eyes are actually looking at me as we're talking. Now, as we zoom in, a couple other things I'd like to note is that recently Trick or Treat Studios put out an Art the Clown, right? And they gave it this ridiculous parachute material outfit. This is what they should have went with. It's kind of like... I mean, it's almost like an in-between of the parachute and cloth. Again, I'm not some material expert, but this is what they should have went with, and that figure would have been knocked up several points. But again, Hot Toys went with the perfect type of material for this outfit. It just looks great. The only knock, that I might say again, I'm kind of confused why they don't weather these things. I mean, given what Pennywise does and where he lives, it goes without saying that he would be very, very dirty. At least the ankles, very dirty coming in and out, or where he comes from, his hands, a little bit of the wrists and stuff. So shocked that we never get weathering on these guys, or should I say appropriate weathering. I'm pretty sure I've already seen people out there do some third-party weathering to it, and it added that just second dimension layer that was... Man, it made it look a lot better. And in fact, I almost want to do it myself and figure out who out there can pull that off, because it looks a little bit better had we added a layer of weather into this guy. But tailoring was phenomenal. I want to note right here this, I don't even know what the hell, I'm sure there's some official name for this thing, but this neck piece here, there's just several layers, and the way it kind of sits on top of each other and feels puffed out was phenomenal. The way they pulled that off, and the head sculpt kind of just sits like in there, like literally like a nest. And again, the head sculpt is phenomenal. Just check out the menacing look that Pennywise has as we're looking at this thing right now. Just a slight glisten to the eyes and the teeth as well. The fact that they went to those extra details and went that extra mile is always something to be said with these guys. So, back to the suit. Not much else to say. You have these little tiny balls on each one of the wrists here. You have them over here as well. And as we swing it to the back, it's always worth noting. Obviously came with this phenomenal stand. It is a waist grabber versus a crotch grabber on this thing. Based off the material on this figure and the body type that I feel underneath, I think it works. I don't think it's going to cause too much damage. As I mentioned on other figures, especially if they are rubber or a textured material, it will cause some damage for sure. However, on this guy, because it is a genuine cloth-like material, I think that it works, and it makes it feel very sturdy. And this is the one time I will say I probably prefer a waist grabber over the crotch grabber. Now, it is a perfect segue to say, because it's a cloth suit, because you got this great stand with it, and underneath you have double-jointed elbows and knee joints here, posability on this guy is an absolute joy. Very, very easy bending everything. The body type underneath feels very sturdy. Everything felt like it was stiff and felt in place as I kind of moved it. And, you can literally put both knees up here. Hold on. And that's how easy. So imagine your imagination is the limit to what you could do as far as posing with this guy. I'm a museum type pose. I'm going to probably put him right back to that stand-in pose, but imagine what you truly could do. And again, your imagination is the limit. All right, so as we start to round this review out and slap a score on this guy, again, some of the thoughts that I have as it's spinning around, first off, those goddamn eyes are still looking at me from the sewer down there. That's first thing. Second, I'm going to have nightmares. I'm most certainly going to have nightmares. Both of those head sculpts are frightening. And something about those eyes, I feel like they're looking at me as I'm reviewing this thing. And on a serious note, they knocked it out of the park. Hot Toys have just gone that extra mile with this thing. I feel it in my heart as I'm looking at it. They are fans of the movie. They are fans of the franchise. They put some love. They put attention to detail. And above all, they put care into this thing. So I just can't stress enough. Hot Toys, what you've done here is amazing. I know that I have wishes for more horror lines or something more 80s lines, Terminator stuff again. What you're doing with brands beyond Marvel and DC is just phenomenal, and we can't get quality like this. I know there's third party out there, but Hot Toys is always the king of them. Back to this guy, thinking of a score, there's not much that we can knock on this thing. Could it have used a dusting, a weathering on top of the suit? Absolutely. Makes no sense that it doesn't have it. And in fact, it loses a little bit, but because of that. However, it's still one of the high scores that we throw out there, and that's in the 9s. Very rare that I give things in the 9s. With that said, and that little tease, let's jump right into it. I'm going to give it a 9.1 out of 10. This thing is phenomenal. Excited to have it in my collection. I am a big fan of the franchise, whether it be the old movie or the new one, except for part 2. That's a big piece of trash, garbage crap. But it is just a really creepy character that I think they've just nailed it with as a franchise, and I hope they do some justice going forward. Maybe we get to see him again. But as far as what we have in front of us, this thing is staying in my collection for a long time because it is phenomenal. 9.1 out of 10. Bill Skarsgård, Casey Toys, See you guys next time. Oh, crap!
Huh?